The previous segment on foreign policy may have left you wondering, what about murderous dictators around the world? Doesn't the U.S. government have the moral obligation to intervene in countries where innocent civilians are being massacred? While this sentiment certainly is noble and compassionate, fulfilling such an obligation is impossible. Civil governments are morally obligated to their own tax-paying citizens. No government can be an omnipotent, omnipresent defender of all people. Practically speaking, any military intervention has to be selective. Picking and choosing which countries to intervene in inevitably leads to judging the loss of life in one place as more tolerable than the loss of life in another place. We have to seriously ask ourselves if America is in the position to make this type of judgment, considering we turn a blind eye to the atrocities within our own country. What if a foreign government bombed or invaded our borders in the name of delivering us from a tyrannical president or saving 1 million unborn children from being slaughtered? Though their intentions may be good, I don't think Americans would approve of their tactics. Furthermore, God never gives this moral responsibility to Old Testament Israel. God never gave Israel the responsibility of searching for monsters to destroy or to intervene in the civil affairs of other nations. It would be impossible for Israel to do so, as they were not to have standing armies or a vast supply of horses and chariots. Instead, Israel was to be a light to the nations, as an example of God's righteousness and the blessings associated with obeying Him. Does this mean we do nothing? Of course not. Americans cannot stand by as atrocities are committed around the world. Churches, missionaries, private organizations, and free individuals must be active in defending those who suffer from injustice. This includes volunteering to fight alongside those oppressed if you wish to do so. America can spread freedom throughout the world by being an example of personal responsibility. What about Islam? Ron Paul frequently says that terrorists attack us because we are occupying their land, and some Christians conclude that Paul is ignorant of the Islamic agenda. But Paul's assessment is true according to the Quran itself. There are specific passages in the Quran regarding retaliation against invaders. Islamic extremists can easily use these statements as justification for terror against the United States. Because of this fact, Paul had been predicting increased terrorism against the U.S. years before 9/11. Does this mean that we accommodate the terrorists? Of course not. It means that our presence is certainly not helping the situation. Occupying Muslim territories is counterproductive to America's national security, as it incites more resentment, more hatred, and more terrorism. CIA officials, the 9/11 Commission report, and bin Laden himself all confirm that U.S. occupations motivate terrorism. This doesn't mean America is to blame, as if terrorists are justified in killing innocent life. That would be absurd. Paul has never entertained such notions, and he submits legislation year after year to adequately deal with terrorist criminals. It does mean that we have to understand our enemy's mindset if we want true progress. We cannot ignore the facts. Are there other reasons why Islamic radicals want to attack the U.S.? Perhaps. But why would we want to make matters worse by further endangering ourselves? We should be much more eager to send missionaries to Muslim territories, not bombs. Islam will never be overcome by military might, but only by the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ.